Hello everyone, I'm François Picard. Unable to return home since last week, Haiti's Prime Minister facing the music, what with both the international community and the gang leaders who've overrun his country against him. In a video message from Puerto Rico overnight where he's stranded, Ariel Henry promising to step down.
The Council of Ministers tonight accepted to put in place a transitional presidential council. The members of this council will be picked after agreement with various sectors of the nation. My government will step down immediately after the establishment of said council.
Ariel Henry's pledge follows a week where gangs revolted while he was in Kenya sealing a deal on an international policing force. Haiti has been without elected leadership since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moise. Delano has more on the reactions there.
Plunging further and further into chaos. The streets of Haiti's capital remain tense as powerful gangs continue to flex their muscle. The former police officer turned gang boss, nicknamed Barbecue, says what happens next in Haiti is for the country's citizens to decide.
We Haitians have to decide who is going to lead the country and what model of government we want. We are going to figure out how to get Haiti out of the misery it's in now. If the international community continues on the road they are on now, it will plunge Haiti into further chaos.
There's much uncertainty in Haiti after the Prime Minister announced he'd step down once a transitional council is established. Experts warn that even with a different form of government, powerful gangs cannot be ignored. On the streets of Port-au-Prince, meanwhile, residents said Haiti needed a homegrown solution to its problems.
All Haitians need to work together to see if we can save the country. Regional countries always put Haiti in a situation where we end up fighting one another.
Regional countries can't do anything for us. It's like running from the rain and falling in the mud.
As regional leaders met in Jamaica, the United States announced it would boost its funding for a Kenyan-led security force in Haiti, bringing the total U.S. support to $300 million, while further funds will be earmarked for aid.
And you see these images there of the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was present at that meeting of regional leaders in Kingston, Jamaica on Monday. For more, let's go to Washington and correspondent Fraser Jackson. What more do we know?
Well, Francois, in the last few minutes, we've been hearing exclusively from somebody at the National Security Council attached to the White House behind me. They said that they welcome the Prime Minister and his decision to step down, and commend the Prime Minister for putting his country and Haitians first and agreeing to step down when a council has been established. Now, on that aid that we've been hearing about, $300 million has been announced now from the United States towards that Kenyan-led task force. They said that money should be matched by other international donors, saying that we urge our international partners to join us in increasing funding to our Kenya-led task force. The US, of course, adding an additional $33 million on top of that for humanitarian aid. Now, the question that has been on everybody's lips at the White House in the briefing room over the last couple of weeks has been whether the US will see any more concrete measures and go the extra step and actually intervene or join this task force. We have heard from the National Security Council that the answer for that now is no. The US has no intention of joining that task force. The statement from them saying the United States has no intention of intervening in Haiti's internal security operations and will not send US troops to Haiti to support the Haitian National Police's security operations. We're expecting to hear more about Haiti when the press briefing starts. Behind me, Jake Sullivan from the National Security Council, the National Security Advisor, is joining the briefing and is expected to field some questions about that today.
Stay with us, Fraser, because we're going to cross to Oxford. Ivan Briscoe is a program director for Latin America and the Caribbean for International Crisis Group. Events are moving fast. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24. First off, your reaction to what Fraser's been reporting about, that the international community and the United States in particular are getting the wheels moving.
Well, clearly the United States has made a very important decision in the last few days, I think brought about by the events on the ground in Haiti, which is to remove their remaining support from Ariel Henry and agree that there has to be some form of transition, a new government in the country. I mean, Henry has been in power since July 2021, since the assassination of President Jovenel Moise, fundamentally because of his support from the international community and above all, support from the United States. During those 3 years in which Haiti has got progressively more violent, insecure, and impossible to govern, the support has remained for Henry, even though as it were, his favor has been declining in Washington because of the conditions on the ground. But eventually, it's come to the move now that we've seen to remove the support and to look for an alternative. But what will that be? Obviously, we see the formation of a transitional council where we know that this will be composed largely of political parties and that they will be debating now who will be their representatives on that council. And on that basis, an interim prime minister will be chosen and the path laid to new elections. But there are so many uncertainties still in the path. How will the gangs respond to this? Will the deployment of the multinational support mission, the mission which Kenya should be leading, will that be achieved in the next few months, or will other security measures have to be introduced in the meantime due to conditions on the ground?
Yeah, let's spell it out for folks. There are, according to Guyana's president, who we're going to hear in a moment, this transitional council would have 7 voting members and 2 non-voting members. For more, we can cross to Port-au-Prince. Widlore Mérancourt is editor-in-chief at AyiboPost. Thank you for being with us here on France 24. What would this transitional council, what's it looking like from where you are? What do you think it's going to look like?
Well, so far what is being announced is what you just said. It would be a council of 7 members who have voting power. There are ongoing discussions with regard to the composition of it, like which personalities are going to be part of it. But at the same time, I'm hearing also from several people, including those who, some of them are participating in these discussions, that the CARICOM is kind of rushing to a solution, and they would want to kind of go slowly with regard to the composition of this council. But more than that, I'm hearing also that some people are extremely worried that a 7-member council, with people coming from different political spheres, different philosophical and different views, might be impractical.
Might be impractical. Certainly, the names floated about, according to Newswire reports we're reading, show that it's really a wide array, including a former rebel leader, even.
Well, I don't know if the former
an ally, excuse me, an ally of a former rebel leader.
Well, there is lots of discussions, with regard to whom should be included and excluded. But what is certain with regard to how this is being set up so far is folks who were accused or condemned by any justice system for all sorts of horrific acts or corruption or even trafficking. Drugs would not be part of this. But at the same time, the main question remains, which is, how the gangs are going to react. We know that they are opposed to, bringing outside force in the country, which, would make it extremely difficult for them to operate and kidnap, rape, and run some businesses as freely as they are doing it right now. So yeah, lots of questions and lots of uncertainty.
In any case, the international community recognizing, as Ivan Briscoe was saying a moment ago, the need to act fast, what with gangs overrunning Port-au-Prince and vast swathes of Haiti. Let's take a listen to Guyana's President Mohamed Irfan Ali. He is the rotating chair of the regional body CARICOM.
The Transitional Presidential Council will swiftly select and appoint an interim prime minister. The Transitional Presidential Council will, together with the interim prime minister, appoint an inclusive Council of Ministers. The Transitional Presidential Council will hold the relevant and possible powers of the Haitian presidency during the transition period until an elected government is established.
Ivan Briscoe, you just heard a moment ago Widlore in Port-au-Prince saying how people on the ground there worrying that this is all going fast. There you hear Guyana's president talking about an interim prime minister, an inclusive cabinet. How fast can this be done, and can it be done properly?
Well, they're trying to combine two things, which is to create a stable, broad-based government with all the parties giving the buy-in, which is exactly what they didn't have over the last few years, 3 years through Ariel Henry, at the same time as moving fast. They do not want a void in power to last very long. Evidently, there is a void at the moment. Ariel Henry is stuck in Puerto Rico. He has said he would resign. The Presidential Transitional Council is not yet formed, so there isn't yet an interim prime minister. So there is a sense that there is very limited authority in the country right now, and that's what they don't want. They don't want to see the gangs extending their power even further, making it impossible for flights to go in and out of the country, making it impossible for boats to come in and out, effectively besieging Haiti and bringing on an even worse humanitarian crisis than they have today, and also allowing the gangs to have a platform for doing other nefarious activities beyond all the many crimes that they're committing at the moment. So these are the fears, but they need to have support from across Haiti's extremely fractious, divided political spectrum, and that's not easy at all. And I think what the observer, the commentator from Haiti was saying, which is the concern that, I mean, we can put all the political parties together in one room, but there's no guarantee that they will actually agree on anything substantial to move the process forward, to be able to bring the governance which the country requires. And obviously, if there is going to be a Kenyan-led multinational security mission deploying in the next few months, it does need a partner in government. Thousands of Kenyan or troops, police officers rather, from other countries can't operate unless they have partners on the ground working in the Haitian National Police, in the judicial authorities, in the prosecution, in the prisons.
Fraser Jackson, again, you've just been speaking in the last minutes to people at the National Security Council at the White House. That Kenyan-led police force, that's Plan A, and it's still on.
Yeah, it's still on. The United States says they are giving more money to it. $300 million has been given to it at the moment. But it's been interesting to listen to what the other two guests have been saying as well, because there's a sense here in Washington, in some cases, that things have actually moved too slowly and that it really is now time to get things done. And that is also something that we are seeing from the other countries in the region. And we're also seeing a shift diplomatically in the United States as well. Over the weekends, they were worried about the spiraling situation and pulled their non-essential embassy staff out of Haiti. They actually sent in American forces to beef up the security at that embassy and use those choppers to then take out some of the non-essential staff. We're also hearing that European ambassadors, such as the German ambassador and other EU representatives, have also fled Haiti. Some are now in the neighboring Dominican Republic. So there is worry there that the situation is spiraling. There's also concern about that international task force and how it will be received. Of course, the Haitians are very wary of international interventions. If you look back at the previous UN missions that were in the country that left behind a devastating cholera epidemic and a tide of sexual abuse scandals as well, there's obviously some hesitation there, which is of course understandable. The US, given an assessment of any potential international intervention, they warned that gangs will be more likely to violently resist a foreign national force deployment to Haiti because they perceive it to be a shared threat to their control and operation. So a very difficult balance to strike here between empowering those political factions on the ground and also the international response.
Well, we have breaking news, Fraser, coming out of Nairobi. The Kenyan Foreign Ministry stating that it is putting its Haiti police mission on hold. Let me get a first reaction from you, Widlore Mérancourt in Port-au-Prince. You were telling us earlier about the fear among many that things were perhaps acting in haste. And now, if Kenya is seemingly putting this on hold, What's your reaction?
Well, I think I'd like to stress something that I think is really important. Someone said earlier that, the prime minister resigned and there is a void in power. I think if you talk about the ineffectiveness of the government, yes, there is a void in power, and the Haitian government was not able to tamp down against insecurity. But at the same time, the prime minister announced he's going to resign and his government is going to resign. But at the same time, the government is still conducting the basic affairs of government. Of the country. And before the Prime Minister Ariel Henry left Haiti, he nominated or picked someone to be the interim. It's someone from his government. And these people are in place, and these people are still...
But are they really in place, Widlore, when you've seen in the last 24 hours the attack on the Interior Ministry, the attack on police stations?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In terms of practicality, in practical terms, this government is ineffective, and it's been ineffective for years. And Haitian people were asking the international community to stop supporting it. But on practical terms, not a lot changed, other than the fact that they announced the government is going to resign and give this place to the new structure that the international community is supporting. Now, when it comes to this international force, that could be led, that will be led by Kenya.
Or not, again, because they just said they're suspending their mission.
Yes, indeed. That's what I've heard also. I have yet to find more details, but what I do know for sure is the situation today in Haiti is extremely dire. I'm hearing on the ground, if nothing is done in the next few weeks, we might fall into some big catastrophe. And we are already in a very difficult situation, with hospitals telling me that, they are running out of fuel, they are running out of, medicines, supplies, etc. So something needs to be done, and the actors need to get together to kind of, tamp down the brutal insecurity. The gangs announced before the assassination, before the resignation of Ariel Henry, that already they did not like the direction of the international community. There is no reason to think, they will accept the proposals that are being, put forward.
Yeah, the most prominent of those, or the most widely known of those gang leaders, Jimmy Cherizier, a.k.a. Barbecue, stating, "We Haitians have to decide who's going to be the head of the country and what model of government we want." Ivan Briscoe, the Kenyans suspending the sending of that police force, and the gang leaders saying, "We don't want any foreigners in." Your reaction?
Well, Francois, I've heard this from you. I don't know the exact details. I am
It's a
shocked.
statement from the foreign ministry, quoted by the AFP news agency.
Just come out now. Obviously, so much faith was being put, even yesterday in the CARICOM meeting, in the Kenyan-led mission. So if that is off the table, then presumably those who wish to see the mission deployed, and I'm thinking primarily the United States and Canada and other Caribbean countries, are going to have to look for alternatives to lead the mission. That mission has, of course, a UN Security Council resolution backing it up. It's not a UN mission, but it is supported by the UN. It's got a huge number of countries invested in it in some way. So if Kenya is pulling out, the question is who is going to lead it, and that raises a number of possibilities. I don't know exactly what the debate on that will be, and what role the United States will play. The United States have obviously refrained from taking a leading role in any peacekeeping or intervention in Haiti since 2004, when they sent their Marines in to remove the president at the time in the face of a very difficult situation. That was President Aristide. And since then, the prospect of further U.S. intervention is regarded very, very negatively by Haitians. So there will have to be some form of alternative. And it was interesting in the press conference given by Irfan Ali yesterday, the Guyanese president, how he talked about bridging security mechanisms. So something which would have to happen more or less from now, more or less from the time the new presidential council is in place, a new interim prime minister Minister, until the Kenyans, who were going to arrive, they're no longer going to arrive. But what would that security mechanism need to be? Is there some alternative which is being considered at the moment? Because from what we know in Washington, there is great reluctance to commit any forces to the ground. Canada, the same. I think Caribbean countries would feel similar reluctance. So I think what we're looking at the moment is a period of some great uncertainty. We at Crisis Group, for example, we've been looking at the Kenyan mission. We've been consulting with the Kenyans over a number of months. We've seen their initial preparations for the mission. If as you suggest, as the news agency suggests, if all that is being stopped and halted, I would like to think that there is a concrete alternative plan in its place which responds to the needs of the Haitians and is not just a dramatic foreign military intervention taken out of an emergency to deal with an emergency without thinking about the consequences.
An emergency there is. Ivan Briscoe, I want to thank you so much for joining us from Oxford. I want to thank Widlore Mérancourt for being with us from Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Fraser Jackson reporting from the White House.